Alright everyone, I'm here to give you my WWE Raw review for February 23rd, 2015. Thought it was a decent show. I'm just going to go through my notes here, and talk about what happened. So we get JBL, Michael Cole, and Booker T on commentary. Randy Orton comes out and he finally speaks for the first time, and he talks about how he does take a shot at the Authority, which consists of Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, Seth Rollins, J&J Security, Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury, Corporate Kane, and Big Show. And he says that he's not going to cut a 20-minute promo because he's not much of a talker, and I thought that was great. But he says that he's been sitting at home for months thinking about what Seth Rollins did to him 4 months ago. And then they play the footage of when Seth Rollins tried to end his career. And then he said that Seth Rollins got away last night, but he's not going to get away when he gets him again, so he calls out Seth Rollins so he can kick his ass. And then the Authority comes out except for Seth Rollins and J&J Security. And Stephanie McMahon says that you were off the deep end last time we saw you. You weren't acting like the face of the company, and we know we can work this out. And she also says that that Randy Orton, what else does she say? I forget. She also says that Randy Orton, I'm trying to remember. That he went off the deep end, and that him and Seth Rollins can get it on because they can be both the face and the future. And she talks about how he's family with the Authority. They can settle this. And then Big Show says that when he joined the Authority, it was the best decision he ever made. And Randy Orton then says, well, I'm not going to sell out like you did. And then Stephanie McMahon talking about how Randy Orton always does what's for his benefit. And, he'll only do what's best for Orton. So she said that they're going to have an Authority business meeting backstage, and he's invited to come. So then they go to leave, and then before they leave, Randy Orton says that he'll be there. So I wasn't expecting him to say that. And I'll get to the Authority business meeting when I get there, but I thought the opening segment was pretty decent. So then we get Bad News Barrett versus Dolph Ziggler, and R-Truth was on commentary for this match. Bad News Barrett had been cutting a promo during the break, but we didn't see it till it came back, and he pretty much says that Dean Ambrose has his Intercontinental title and he wants it back because he's the true Intercontinental champion. And R-Truth's on commentary because he beat Bad News Barrett in a match on SmackDown, and he feels like he deserves an Intercontinental Championship match. This match was pretty decent. Ziggler hits the jumping DDT, BNB kicks out, and then Bad News Barrett hits a power bomb, which he kind of botched a little bit, and Ziggler kicks out of that. And then Ziggler actually just hit the zigzag for the win clean. I was actually surprised he did because I was expecting Ambrose to come out or something, but no, Ziggler hits the zigzag clean for the win. And then afterwards, Dean Ambrose comes out and shows Bad News Barrett that he has the title and thinks he's the true IC champion since Bad News Barrett ran away from him. And Bad News Barrett says that it's my title. And then he just walks Dolph Ziggler and kind of shoves him in a way. So I don't know what they're setting up, if they're setting up a Fatal 4-Way match for the IC title in the future between BNB, Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, and R-Truth. I'm not really sure. I don't know if R-Truth will be involved in this, and maybe he'll get a shot on SmackDown or something, but I'm not really sure. And then we get a business meeting with the Authority. And Triple H all night, by the way, I gotta mention, was just pissed. He didn't say anything because he's thinking about Stin. And Stephanie McMahon says everyone's backstage except for J&J Security. And Seth Rollins says that we can't work. Randy Orton, we can't trust Orton, and Corporate Kane all agrees, but Stephanie McMahon says that they can make this work, and she says Orton can either turn him down and accept the consequences, or they can be the most dominant faction in WWE history. And Orton shakes his hand, and Stephanie McMahon makes a tag team match between Randy Orton and Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. I thought that was decent stuff. And then we get the primetime players. They finally reunited. Darren Young and Titus O'Neil. It was cool to see them team up again. And they went up against the Ascension, being Connor and Victor. And they talk about how they cut a promo in the box. The Ascension pretty much saying that they're gonna destroy the primetime players, and the Ascension pretty much squashes them. But Darren Young's able to get a roll up in on Victor for the win. And then afterwards, the Ascension destroys the primetime players, and they hit the Fallen Man on Darren Young. So I thought this was fine stuff. And then Roman Reigns comes out to cut a promo. He talks about how he was he beat 29 other men to win the Royal Rumble match, but that wasn't good enough for him, for the Authority, because to get he beat 29 men in the Rumble match to get his shot at Mania, but that wasn't good enough for the Authority. They had to have him win this #1 contenders match against Daniel Bryan last night, and he says he realized he had a lot of doubters last night, and he goes to say something to them, but then Daniel Bryan comes out and he says that he used to people talk about how Roman Reigns has the size. He doesn't have the heart and the strength. He doesn't have the heart and the tenacity, intensity to become champion. But a person like him does, and the fans see that in him, but the Authority doesn't. He said that he used to think that Roman Reigns had no heart. That's why he was pissed off he won the Royal Rumble match. He booed just like everybody else did. But then Daniel Bryan says that he gave it his all last night, and he just flat out lost. And Roman Reigns won because he was the better man, and he congratulates him and tells him to kick Brock Lesnar's ass at Mania, and then he leaves. I thought that was great stuff. Definitely worth checking out this promo. Roman. It was a good way to put over Roman Reigns. At the beginning, I was like, why are they doing this? But it was definitely a good way to put over Roman Reigns. And then Paul Heyman comes out. He pretty much talks about how he's named Paul Heyman and he's representing his client, Brock Lesnar. And he said that he was pulling for Roman Reigns to beat Daniel Bryan last night. He pretty much said that Roman Reigns is a machine. He's a muscle machine. And you can pretty much say that he is capable of winning any match, and talks about how if he fought Bruno Sammartino, Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Hulk Hogan, and Andre the Giant in a triple threat match, or John Cena, he would beat them. He would have them win. If he fought any guy, Roman Reigns would be the one that he picked to win. But he's not fighting a guy at WrestleMania. He's fighting the Beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar. And he says that Brock Lesnar's going to beat Roman Reigns. Pretty much kind of the gist of it. And then Roman Reigns says that a few weeks ago he stared at Brock Lesnar in the eyes, and he said that he's going to respect him after Mania. But he said he doesn't care about the respect. He said he's going to beat Brock Lesnar, and he's going to not like him after he does it. And he said, you can believe that. And then Reigns leaves. I was kind of disappointed because Brock Lesnar I got a text that says Brock Lesnar was supposed to be on the show, and he didn't show, so I was kind of disappointed about that. Other than that, this was all fine stuff. I did like this promo. It was actually pretty good. And then Cesaro and Tyson Kidd with Natalya at ringside defend their tag team titles against the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, with Naomi. I thought this was actually a pretty good match. Cesaro and Kidd does the swing, and then Kidd does the drop kick. Cesaro does the suplex, and then Tyson Kidd does the elbow drop. I thought this was good stuff. The Usos throw Tyson Kidd rib first into the barricade, and then one of them suplexes Cesaro on the outside. And then one of the Usos, I don't know which one, hits a crossbody on Tyson Kidd that he completely botched, which I thought was funny. And then Jake Uso splashes Cesaro, and before he can cover him, Tyson Kidd goes off the top and hits an elbow on him. And Tyson Kidd tries to cover Jake, but that was kind of weird because Tyson Kidd technically It wasn't the well, was actually, it was no technical. He wasn't the legal man, so I don't know why he was allowed to do this. Um, and what else? Then the Usos just hit super kicks on Kid and Cesaro, and then eventually one of the Tyson Kidd tries to roll up one of the Usos and use the ropes for the win, but Naomi pushes his ropes off and Natalia attacks her, and then one of the Usos tries to go off the top and do a splash, but Natalia interferes and Naomi pulls her off the apron and she acts like it hurts her ankle. And then the referee calls for the bell, and the Usos win by DQ, but Cesaro and Kidd retain because the titles can't change hands off a disqualification. And Natalia sells the leg injury. I thought this was fine. I think that's going to set up to some sort of tag team match at Mania, either between these guys, or they can throw the Usos, Kidd and Cesaro, the primetime players, and the Ascension in a fatal 4-way tag team match. I think that would be good. Alright, so now the Miz is backstage, and Damien Mizdow comes up all excited that he has good news for him, and Miz tells him that he wants to tell him his good news, that he's ended the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and he said that this is going to be good if he wins it, because he's won every title except, he's done everything there is to do except win this match, and says that his movie will be coming out in April. This will be the publicity that he needs. This will bring him to the next big superstar. I guess the Miz needs to ask Cesaro about that, because that didn't work so much for Cesaro. And then Damien Mizdow tells him that people have been calling him and he's going to be like a sponsor in a commercial. And Miz is just like, oh, that's good for you. So then the Miz forces him to like lend his jacket. I thought this was actually a pretty good stuff. I actually hope they don't have Miz in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, just due to the fact that I want to see the Miz versus Damien Mizdow Mania, so I hope they change their minds. And I think that very well might happen. So then Bray Wyatt's backstage, and he's talking trash about The Undertaker again, talking about ever since he became 21-1, he's just like everybody else. We haven't seen him in a while. And then he says that he wants him to come face him at Mania, unless you're too scared of him. Pretty much the same thing he's been saying. And he says to find him. I don't know if he's going to accept because The Undertaker didn't do it on the show. I wonder if Bray Wyatt's just going to come out at Mania and then Undertaker will show up and beat Bray Wyatt, hopefully in a fair match. Or if Undertaker would come out soon. I'm not really sure. So then we get Stardust versus Jack Swagger. Okay match. Stardust is pretty much kicking Jack Swagger's ass, and then Goldust comes out, distracts Stardust to build up their feud, and then Jack Swagger gets him in the ankle lock. Stardust taps out, Swagger wins. That's about it. I think they should have done a little bit of a better job building up this feud this week, but hopefully they do a better job next week on SmackDown this Thursday. And then John Cena comes out, cuts a promo talking about how Rusev just flat out beat him. He passed out, he lost. The same John Cena promo. And he talked about how Rusev is a coward, though, because he did it. He's proved that he isn't a hero. He's a flat-out coward. Then Rusev and Lana come out. They trash John Cena, say that he's just lost. He doesn't have it anymore. Rusev beat him. And Rusev's the hero of the Russian Federation. How Vladimir Putin, for however you say his name, was calling him just because Rusev's a hero. And then John Cena says that he's not a hero, and says that he's a phony, and says that you do not insult the United States of America because they did that too, and says that you should be that the people that wave the flag on some every day are heroes. And he says he wants to face Rusev for the U.S. title and bring the U.S. title back to the United States of America at WrestleMania. Rusev denies it because John Cena was the greatest man, but Rusev broke him and he doesn't deserve to have this match. So they don't have it, and then the Russian flag comes out and John Cena's all depressed. I thought this was a great segment. This was definitely the highlight of the show. In my opinion, well, the Bray Wyatt stuff was good, and this stuff, I thought that was good. But yeah, this was just great stuff. And then Randy Orton's backstage, and Seth Rollins comes up and wants to work strategy. and so that we can leave the past behind us of when I tried to end your career. But Randy Orton says, we're not going to leave it behind me, but we're just going to work together, because he wants to remind Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan what he's capable of, because he didn't have to be in the Royal Rumble when they were in it. So I thought it was fine. Then we get Paige and Emma versus Nikki and Brie, the Bella twins. It was boring. Brie Bella just hits the face buster on Emma immediately and wins, and then Nikki Bella takes a cheap shot. Who cares? And then they show a video package for Sting. I really liked this video package. It was great. They showed us Surfer stuff and people like John Cena, Ron Simmons, Tony Schiavone, Booker T, Ric Flair would talk about how he just got the business. He got into his character, Dean Ambrose. And then they talked about when he came in as Crowston and was up in the rafters, and he was going to take down the NWO, which stands for the New World Order, and it consisted of Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Six or X-Pac, the Giant or Big Show, Scott Steiner, Booker T, just a ton of wrestlers, Macho Man Randy Savage, and says that he was going to take down WCW and talk about how Sting stayed with WCW, and all of that stuff. I thought that was good stuff. You can probably find this video on YouTube, so I'm not going to go into too much detail of it. And then we get another announcement. We get the Bushwhackers, which I think is Bruce and Luke, and they're going to be going into the Hall of Fame, and it shows all the stuff that they're doing, all the comedy skits and how they used to walk like this. I don't really know a lot about these guys. I know who they are, but I don't know a lot of info. They had comedy skits when they're walking on the train tracks. They lick people's ears. I thought it was funny stuff that they had. I don't know if they really deserve it though, but then again, Drew Carey's in, so why not put these guys in? And it's a tag team. They probably did something, because that's something memorable. And then Curtis Axel's in the ring, and he said that he's been in the Rumble, and I wrote it down, for 29 days, 36 seconds, and 36 minutes and 27 seconds, around that time. And he says he's the longest guy in it, and he should be main event in WrestleMania. Thought that was awesome. Ryback comes out, and they're going to have a match, and I thought that was good, because Ryback and Curtis Axel used to be a tag team, so I thought it was good that they were having a match. And I forgot to mention that Curtis Axel also announced he's going to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Ryback announced he's going to be as well, and then squashes Curtis Axel, beats him with the shell shock. And then we get Seth Rollins and Randy Orton with J&J Security, and Big Show and Kane were out there too, versus Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. Thought this was a decent tag team match, nothing really special here. Bryan and Reigns kick their asses at first, and then the heels get the heat on Reigns. They go off on him, and then Bryan gets the hot tag. He starts going off. He suicide dives Rollins. And then Joey Mercury gets on the apron. It's enough of a distraction for Rollins to take control, and then they dominate Bryan for a while. And then Bryan goes for the headbutt but Orton, but he misses. But this is still enough time for Bryan to get the hot tag on Reigns. Reigns gets the hot tag on Rollins, goes off on him. And then Orton gets tagged back in, and he's pretty much kicking Reigns' ass. He's going to hit the rope DDT on him, but Rollins tags himself back in, and Orton gets pissed about this, and he goes on the floor, and he's like, why is he doing this? I had him. So then Reigns hits a Superman punch, and he's going to spear Rollins for the win, but Bryan tags himself in and hits the running knee for the win. So I thought that was good stuff. And then afterwards, Randy Orton acts like he's going to punch Rollins in the skull, but he doesn't. He RKO's though Jamie Noble, and then he just pats Rollins on the back and leaves. I don't really know what they're going for here. I guess maybe they're going to have a respect for each other, and then at some point Orton's just going to beat the crap out of Rollins, setting up for the Mania match. I'm not really sure. As for Raw this week, to be honest with you, there was some good stuff on it, but a lot of the stuff was video packages and just kind of recap, so I'm just going to end the matches were kind of average. The promos were good, but not a lot of good stuff this week, so I'm going to have to say it was a little bit below average of a show. It didn't suck, but it wasn't really, it just kind of feels like you could have skipped this week's. I like the Reigns promo. The tag team match was good, but B&B and Ziggler was good, but they've had better matches. The Orton stuff, I guess, wasn't that bad. I don't know. The Cena promo was good, but then the second hour they didn't really try. I understand they want to get these video package up, but I mean the Divas match sucked. Ryback versus Axel was a squash match. Bray Wyatt promo backstage segment, but they just didn't really impress me. They had too much, I think, talking. I mean, how many matches they have? I don't even think they had many matches on the show. They had what? Daniels Barrett versus Ziggler, that's 1. 2, 3, 4. We only had 6 matches. I think that's kind of a joke to have on a over 3 hours. That's kind of a joke. Other than that, that's pretty much it, guys. That's my review of WWE Raw. I know I didn't have a lot to say, but whatever. There wasn't really a lot to say anyways. And I thought they could have done a little bit better too, I guess, on the build-up for them in these storylines. I'm not really enjoying the build-up for Orton and Rollins right now, not going to lie. I am, however, looking forward to more of a Wyatt Undertaker than I was earlier this year. Bray Wyatt's doing a good job. I'm not really sure, though. It's going to feel weird to see Undertaker wrestle just because he won't have his streak, so, but other than that, that's pretty much it. I'm going to talk about this more as Mania advances. I actually have to start doing the WrestleMania series review, and I am going to start doing that very soon. It's going to be a little bit difficult this year, just because I have a lot of school stuff going on, but I'm going to try to do it. But other than that, that's pretty much it, guys. I'll be back to give you a video at some point this week, either Tuesday or Wednesday, but that's pretty much it, guys. Peace.